All right, what is up, guys? Today we're gonna be talking about the Seahawks. They signed Mike Macdonald to be their new head coach. He's from the Ravens, defensive coordinator. And man, this is a great hire in my opinion. There weren't really a established offensive guy in the offensive coordinator or offensive guru besides Ben Johnson, who were left for head coach candidates. And Ben Johnson just announced, today that he's not gonna be going to become a head coach. He's going to go back to Detroit for another year and be their offensive coordinator. Big reason was he probably wanted around $15 million a year as a head coach, and a lot of teams were not willing to do that. It was apparent that the Seahawks were probably not willing to do that, and neither were the Commanders. And the Commanders, it really looked like he's going to go to the Commanders no matter what over the Seahawks because they're going to have the second overall pick at Drake May. Great future for that guy. He's gonna be a stud. He's one of the best QB prospects we've seen probably since Trevor Lawrence. Caleb Williams obviously more hyped, but Drake May is 6'5" almost. Great body frame, great arm, can run. He looks like the total package, and he passed up on that. So who knows? He'll probably be a head coach after next year. He'll be another candidate again. But Mike Macdonald led the best defense in football basically this year for the Ravens, and it's a slam dunk hire when you look at all the talent the Seahawks do have on defense. Obviously, they are negative $4 million in cap space heading into the offseason, so there's a lot of restructuring that they're gonna have to do, and then cuts. They'll probably cut Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs, and then Will Disley, the tight end, who I think that's Will Disley, right? But he's not really worth keeping anymore. Colby Parkinson and then Noah Fant were Will Disley. We're playing over him, and Noah Fant's also a free agent, and so is Damian Lewis. So tough, you know what I mean? But if you cut Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs, and Will Disley, that puts you around $30 million in cap. If you can restructure some contracts like Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Geno Smith, that also creates maybe $50 million in cap or something like that, which wouldn't it would be I think you should restructure a few. I think you should restructure Lockett's. Don't restructure Geno. He's gonna have barely any money left on his contract next year. So if they really want to cut him if he plays bad this year for the next season, then you can cut him. You won't have to take a huge dead cap hit. It'll be very easy. And that was really the big thing about that 3-year contract he signed with the Seahawks. It was basically first year expensive, next year's 25-ish, 30 million-ish, or 25 or 20. I think it was 25 because he signed a 3-year, $105 million contract or whatever it was. And so this year and next year are cheaper than the first year, but you'd still like to keep money on the second year. That way, if you want to cut him, you have the opportunity to. And then I think, a lot of fans are going to be upset if the Seahawks cut Quandre Diggs, but dude, he was not good this year at all. And, a big reason he was so good was at coverage, and our defense is just awful. And then when you talk about teams being able to run, and then you have to have less people in coverage, and he was just getting burnt, it's not really worth keeping. And you have guys like Kobe Bryant, Julian Love. Julian Love was our best safety this year for the Seahawks. So you want to see Julian Love become a full-time starter, which he basically was end of the season because Jamal Adams just didn't play anymore. And Jamal Adams is just he's a cut. He's been awful. It's probably mostly to do with his injury, but it sucks to see. But the Seahawks really do need to cut him. He'll free up 16 million or whatever it is in cap. It's just a must do. Will Disley, sucks to see him go. He's been such a nice piece for the Seahawks at tight end ever since he was got there and he's undrafted or whatever. He was pretty nice, but you gotta admit you probably want Noah Fant back. He was a really good tight end. You probably want Damian Lewis back so you don't have to go out of your way to get another interior offensive lineman. It could be sign Robert Hunt or Connor Williams. That's not a bad option. Connor Williams was playing amazing before he tore his ACL. Robert Hunt's pretty going to be pretty sought after. Maybe Mitch Morse from the Bills center. He's actually a really good center in my opinion, and I do think I think the Seahawks could definitely use him over our current center, Evan Brown. I just don't think, he's that good. You know, Phil Haynes, the right guard's pretty not very good. And then you got Damian Lewis and then Anthony Bradford at left guard. And I think, I don't know if you want to see Bradford. Bradford's actually like a really from LSU, we drafted him last year in like the third or fourth round or fifth round maybe to be like a project. So I think you probably see him start next year somewhere on the offensive line. And then also Luciano Alanamonte, however you say his name, from Michigan was a rookie last year. There's a good chance, he starts. So it's if he I think one of those guys starts 100% for the Seahawks on offensive line next year, but you definitely need to find another guard because if we see Abraham Lucas go down again or Charles Cross get injured, it's basically game over for the O line. It really would be no matter what, but that's how it is for most teams. On defense, Draymond Jones signed that big contract last year, and he was pretty awful this year. I still think, there's a lot to work with there, especially with Mike Macdonald being the new head coach. He was the best defensive coordinator in the NFL last year, best defense. And he really got a lot out of guys like Patrick Queen, Kyle Hamilton, Geno Stone stepped up, like Stevenson's, like guys guys know, like Geno Stone, like led the league in interceptions or was like second or third. Insane free safety, Marcus Williams had a bounce back year from his injury. Marlon Humphrey was like a lot of people love Marlon Humphrey. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big Marlon Humphrey fan, but man has not been it. And then if he can help get Reek Woolen, you know, playing better tackle, like being a better like tackler, that's really all he needs. And we could even see Reek Woolen move to a safety position if he can just upgrade his tackling a little bit. And then he's basically locked down when it comes to pass coverage. So you probably do want him as that corner one, guarding the best receiver on the field. And then you could have Devin Witherspoon somewhere in the slot. That's where he excels at, being a blitzer and stuff. And you can move him all around the field. Julian Love's obviously going to be playing that strong safety or free safety. I can see him playing free safety, and he put Kobe Bryant at strong safety because he is a really good tackler, and he is one of the most physical safeties in the NFL. There's obviously a lot of really good draft opportunities in the draft for guys. I think, a lot of those guys will get taken early, and, interesting thing is, Leonard Williams, free agent. Do the Seahawks want to bring back Leonard Williams? Who knows? He really didn't do amazing for them. I see a lot of fans being, oh, we need Leonard Williams back. I don't know. And obviously they traded a second round pick, but here's the interesting thing. It was like what was it, a second and a fifth round pick? If he doesn't get resigned, it becomes a third round pick, not a second round pick. And you obviously you'd have like a first, second, fourth. You wouldn't have that third or fifth but if you do resign him, you lose that second round pick, you keep a third. So I think almost in this case, it's probably best they do not keep him because it's just probably not going to be worth it. It just won't be. I don't think he was really that good. He's aging. He hasn't been in his prime in like 3 years now, just about. And I think, if you have Draymond Jones and then perhaps you bring in another guy, or you just have him, Draymond Jones, Jaron Reed being the interior guys, bring in maybe one other guy. And then you have Boye Mafe, Derek Hall, and Uchenna Nwosu being your edge rushers. That sounds pretty good to me. And then you're going to probably have Bobby Wagner leave. Devin Bush has to go. He's awful. And Jordan Brooks is a free agent also, so you probably try to re-sign Jordan Brooks. He's probably going to cost a pretty penny, like at least 12 to 15 million a year, which is a lot. But that's why you're going to cut Jamal Adams, cut Quandre Diggs, cut Will Dissly, restructure Tyler Lockett, potentially DK Metcalf, or even extend DK Metcalf. He's been so good, and he doesn't look like he's going to be slowing down anytime soon. I wouldn't hate giving him some more years, even if it's going to cost you some money up front. I mean, or like it's going to look like you're adding money. Yeah, you're adding money, but I think the receiver market's going to continue to go up, especially, the way it's heading. There is a lot of really good receivers in this draft, so I wouldn't hate drafting one in the fourth round, like Counting or whoever, the guy from Arizona State. There's a lot of, or Cowing. He said today at the Senior Bowl he wants to play for the Seahawks and play with DK Metcalf. That's one of his, like top guys he wants to play with. Really could be a good move. Him, JSN, DK, eventually, Tyler Lockett is still there, but who knows how much longer Tyler Lockett has in the league. He's getting up there, and, he's still a productive player, but it's hard to say just how much longer he'll be around. He's going to be like 31 next season. He's still fast, but he's going to be losing some speed. JSN's basically taking his spot, and then Jake Bobo's there, and he's pretty nice with it, if you ask me. Great blocker. Great. Like, that's why the 49ers are so good. All their receivers block, and they have Juan Jennings, who's just amazing at blocking, and he can catch the ball. That's basically what Jake Bobo is. Obviously, doesn't have the speed that some other, receivers have. Like, he's, like, pretty slow compared to a lot of players at their spot, but he's still pretty nice with it. And then you're obviously going to have Zach Charbonnet, and you're going to have K9 at running back. You're set there for the next 3 years probably. And then, yeah, so it's really hard to say what you want to do with the first over, like your first round pick. I see a lot of people saying edge rusher like Jared Verse, Daryl Taylor, Latte Latu. I'm not sure. I would be really down to trade back in this draft, potentially get some more assets. There's a lot of really good tackles who can translate into the interior offensive line. I think, that's obviously a good spot to go. Or even a guy like Cooper DeJean from Iowa. He's a corner, but he could play safety, corner, like nickel. He could play all over the like defensive backside. So he's really good, and he's a great tackler. Something that, could give a lot of versatility to the defense. And then also, this is kind of funny. I think, what if they also got Kobe Bryant later in the draft? The guy from that, we'd have two Kobe Bryants on this team. Imagine that, from Kansas. He's projected to be a 5th-round pick, but the guy's super athletic, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on him. I think that would be honestly hilarious, but I also think he could be pretty good for the team. And then we got Mike Jackson, and we got Trey Brown. So there's a lot of opportunities with this team. And then I just think in general, this free agency, add defensive line, bring back Jordan Brooks, maybe bring back Noah Fant, and then make sure to bring in an offensive lineman. And I think, when it comes to the draft, you should just be getting the best available player on the defense, offensive, or DB. And don't be worrying about quarterback. I think, we don't know who the new offensive coordinator is going to be. I'll make sure to do a follow-up video on that. But I think that's the best way to go, is just get the best available player, get what you need in free agency, get rid of what you don't need. And then hopefully, we haven't had a good defensive coordinator in forever in Seattle since Dan Quinn and the Legion of Boom. It's been pretty awful. And now you're getting the best one in the NFL, in my opinion, to be your head coach. He should bring a lot out of the guys like Reek Woolen, like Julian Love, like Devon Witherspoon, like Boye Mafe, like Daryl Taylor. Or not, Daryl Taylor is probably gone, but Derek Hall, Uchenna Nwosu is going to be there for the next 2 to 3 years. There's a lot to be excited for, especially like if you could get a Draymond Jones playing like how he was in Denver. This could be a great slam dunk hire. And then hopefully in the future they get a new quarterback, because let's be honest, Geno Smith is not it. But, he could definitely win you a playoff game if the cards are right or whatever. I mean, if Brock Purdy can do it, Geno Smith can do it. Like, let's just be honest. And that's going to be the end of the video. If you guys want to see more sports, entertainment, mostly just football, I have 2 Instagram profiles in my bio: Copious Prospects, Copious Highlights. I do player spotlights, so for NFL, college, and high school players on Copious Prospects. I have that on TikTok, and I have that on Instagram. I have Copious Highlights, which you're watching this on YouTube. I have that on TikTok and Instagram. We have lots of followers, post daily content on all of those. And then I also have a news break and a website, my own official website, which I post articles on, usually daily. I'm about to get monetized on there, so I'll be posting quite a bit of articles, a lot of sports stuff, but some other stuff, like UFC, potentially some NBA news. We may talk about NBA on here a little bit, and then ignore the Racks videos. of Real Sports. So it's an app. I make some videos like here and there on it. It gets me a ton of watch times, and that's gonna help me get monetized on here eventually. And people don't know how to get racks on the Real Sports app. But if you also want to get the Real Sports app, use my promo code. It's the best way to keep track of NFL games, NBA, MLB, college basketball, college football, UFC, anything. It's except WNBA for obvious reasons. You can check it out in my bio. Use my promo code. Get you 200 racks, which gets you a free player card. You don't have to care about that, but it's a great app. It's like way better than the ESPN app, if you ask me. And yeah, peace.